Okay guys, quick instructional video on how to install the magazine wrap. So with each order you'll get your wrap, your two blunt tip leather sewing needles, the thread to stitch the wrap on with, and then a spare thread just in case you mess up the first time. So I'm going to start by removing this piece of thread. Okay, and the easiest way to thread this needle on is take one end, pass it through the eye of the needle, and I may need to actually trim this. Just the end's frayed, so I'm going to cut it at a 45-degree angle. Just get a tip on that, and then pass that through the eye. And I'm going to pull it to where there's about a quarter of an inch, or maybe even half an inch of the thread here. I'm going to pierce the thread with the needle at that point. Pull it down, pull the thread through the eye a little, and then take that extra thread there and pull it downwards. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing with the other side of the thread. Let cut this one as well. Okay, and again, I'm going to go through the thread with the needle at about a quarter of an inch to half an inch up. Pull it through and grab that tab and pull it down. Okay, so now I have both ends of that thread, or a needle on both ends of that thread. I'm going to start out with taking the wrap and placing it on the end of the magazine. Should fit like that here. I'm going to take the thread, and this first stitch or two stitches here is really important. It'll you know, you want to make sure you do it right to ensure the both ends of this leather wrap come together here at this point. So so the first thing I do here is pass through this top hole on the right side, and I'm going to go from the inside, or the outside, to the inside here. We'll pull it to where both ends of the thread are about equal in length, and we can adjust that here in a little bit, but go ahead and start out like that. And the next stitch, I'm going from the top of the tab here, in that first hole closest to me right now. Go from the top of the tab to the bottom, so going in from the top side basically. Alright, now I'm going to go in from the bottom side into that second hole on the left side here. Okay, so far it should look like this right here, if you can see that in the video. Yeah. So alright, now I'm going to take this thread here, and I'm going to go from the inside to the outside on this far left side, first hole on the top. Okay, and again I'm going to check my sides of my, or the lengths of my thread here, make sure they're both equal or close to equal. Alright, so at this point you can go ahead and cross this thread over if you'd like. Kind of hard, I'm trying not to get up in the camera, so I'm not able to really control this mag like I normally would be able to, but anyways, cross the end of the thread over and kind of just pull it. You don't have to pull it too tight right now. You're just wanting to get that started. This next stitch that I'm about to show you will help bring that thread all the way in together. So pull that tight. We'll take this, had those crossed, so put them back to the way they were. I'm going to take this needle here, this thread here on the left side, I'm going to cross it all the way over, and then I'm going to pass back through that top hole on this right side from the inside or the, I'm sorry, the outside towards the inside here. And when doing so, it's really important, do not pierce or go through the thread that's already in that hole there. Make sure you miss that thread. So yep. Pull through. Alright, and then I'm just going to take this, now that that's through, and we'll go through this top hole on the left side from the inside outwards. And again, making sure that I'm not going through that other piece of thread with the needle. Alright, good deal. Okay, so these ends of my thread aren't exactly equal. One's about an inch or two longer, but yeah, I'm going to try to pull that through a little bit more. But you have plenty of thread here, so again, as long as it's close to being equal on both sides, you'll have plenty. All right, so now I'm going to cross this thread again, and I'm going to pull it tight here. Pull tight, but also be somewhat gentle. You don't want to yank all at once. Just watch to make sure it's coming together. You just kind of play with it to do so. Okay, so I'm gonna move these threads back to the way they were. I like, I'll show you here. I like the side of my thread that's coming over from the left side to the right side. I like that piece being on top. When you're stitching this, you want to be consistent on where the thread's going, both sides. And I'll show you here in a minute. But so the way I'm going to do it, I'm going to be laying this left side, or the thread coming over from the left side to the right side on top, like this here, of that piece going from the right side to the left side. So in order to do so, I'm going to start with the right side here. So I'm going to go over, and so from the outside to the inside of that next hole, the second from top, left side, I'm going to pull that through there. Alright, so now you'll see this is coming over, and it's going to lay on top of that thread I just put in there. So you'll get used, as you get 2 or 3 stitches in, you get used to going the same way. I know by doing all my stitches this way that it's best for me at this point, when I go from or into the second hole here from the outside and inside, to take that needle and make sure I'm passing under this piece of thread that's laid over. That just sets me up for the next stitch without having to do much adjustment. So I've got both of them passed over. I'm going to pull this tight, and again I'm trying to get my knees down here to pull this tight. You can shift this as you go. You want to make sure you're pulling down on the wrap. Make sure it's seated all the way onto the base plate, bottom of the base plate. Alright, so I'll pull that tight. Alright, and now you see this thread here is sitting under this side that's passed over. So again, however you do it, you can do it the opposite way. Just stay consistent, so you don't have, as you go down here, you don't have this one side sitting on the top, and then the next side or stitch it's sitting on the bottom, and so forth. So it just makes it look a lot better. So I'm going to pass through this third hole here. Just try to make sure that thread's out of your way. So from the outside to the inside, and again, sorry for being redundant, but this thread sitting over or passing on top of that other thread. Go through here and then pull tight. Alright, and then I'm going to continue to go down. Once I get to this last stitch, I'll show you guys how to do that. Okay, so I have 2 holes left here. I'm just going to show you one last time how that stitch works. So I'm going to go through from the outside to the inside. And then from the outside, inside. If you see that this that line here, stitch line, is canted off to the right side or left side, just grab the wrap and kind of shift it whichever way you need to go with it. I usually wait until I get to that last stitch before I really worry about it. Alright, so we'll go through this hole, the last hole here. We'll go through it like I normally would. If I can see it. Try not to get in the way of the camera. Okay, and then the outside. Okay. Looks pretty straight to me. And sorry about that, my battery died on me. I'm not exactly sure where I left off, but I finished that this last stitch it like I normally would. I've pulled it tight and I've checked that this is straight. This looks good to me. I'm not going to do any adjustments with it. So first what I'll want to do is this string here, just throw those back on the other side. This one on the left side, I'm going to go through the last hole on the right side from the inside outwards. So see if I can get a good angle here. Go through there, make sure you're not putting that needle through that thread. And then I'm going to take this other one that was on the right side and do the same. Pass it through the last hole on the left side, opposite to it. So now I'm going to pull that tight here. And at this point you can go ahead and just tie a knot. I'll show you. We'll cut it and melt it with a lighter. But I like to actually take, it doesn't matter which side, but one of the sides of the needle here, or the thread, and then I'm going to go all the way over and pass it through that last hole on the opposite side of it, and then take it and pass it through that last hole on the right side. So I'm back to where I was, but I've gone over and through both holes again, and that just helps me get a tighter it helps me get the two ends closer together before I tie the knot, and it holds it together. So now I'm just going to let me get a better position here. So now I'm just going to tie this knot here. Oh, come on. And it's just a regular, it's got an overhand knot. And last, again, I apologize for being all over the place with this mag. I just don't have a good way of holding it here. So just pull that as tight as possible. Looks good to me. And then I'm going to cut both ends of the thread. I'm going to leave about 1/8 of an inch of thread left after that knot. So just like this here. And then, bear with me, I'm just going to take my lighter here and melt both ends. And you can sit there and toy with it to get it to look better. In this case, I'm not really going to worry about it. So that's it, and it should be good to go. You can, if you want to get some mink oil, you can do that to, every now and then oil the leather, especially if it gets real wet and dry. You may want to hit it with some mink oil or some other kind of leather conditioner or or wax. So yeah, that's it. I appreciate your business.